And up for the next session, that is change management for senior learning and development leader with over 25 years of experience across IT, manufacturing, and services. Mayur Jangam is passionate about enabling transformation through learning, behavioral science, and design thinking. Based in Pune, India, he leads global learning initiatives at Fujitsu, partnering with diverse industries including banking, manufacturing, insurance, and healthcare to drive impactful capabilities building intervention. Huge round of applause for Mr. Mayur Jangam.
All right, good afternoon. Okay, I think George was right. This is the most difficult time of the day, and we can see no response almost. About 10% people saying good afternoon. Can we try one more time? So, can I hear it from the other side? Good afternoon. Yeah, this was fantastic. So, George, I prove you wrong. All right. So, in the interest of time, just to ensure that we talk about what we are here for, which is on the change management. I think this is the best time. I believe that because George has set up the basics of why there is a need for learning, earn learning, and so on, and the answer is change. And I think each one of us experience this almost every day in our daily life, wherever we go, including the place where we are in today. Um, so to start with, few thoughts about why there is a need from an L&D perspective for us to move forward or the change. And I call ourselves as, the change catalysts, because going forward, it's no more that the change will happen. Somebody is going to, stand up there and help us make some change. It's all of us who are going to be part of this. That's why I thought of calling this as a catalyst as well. From a perspective of this is something which we all read up, we talk about it, whether it is in the boardrooms, to the meeting rooms, to coffee vending machines or the water cooler conversations, as they call it. We all talk about digitization. We talk about hybrid is, I think, the old one now. It's been 3 years almost. We are already in the hybrid. Something which is the third point, which is emerging now. Thanks to Mr. Trump, who is giving us nice gifts all over the places. And it has a ripple effect of that with layoffs, resignations increasing. And it is not just at a one group level, but across. So in fact, I also work in a hybrid working where 11 days we are in office. I'm scared to go to office next week, because the moment you step in, you have somebody with a bouquet or a cake. If it is a cake, you still think about a birthday, but bouquet tells you a lot of stories. But where is it taking for us with the change management? That's a thought from an L&D perspective, how we are driving it. And of course, the learning expectations have changed. George did mention this from a generational differences with the Gen Z, millennials. Millennials are old, I guess, now. Gen Z is the one, who is making our life, I'm sorry, Gen Z sitting here, miserable. I can't call it difficult because it has crossed that space already. But it's a good to have challenge, of course, because then as professionals, we are thinking, we are also revisiting how do we operate it. So I could think of these top 4 reasons why there is a need for us to look at the entire change management system to be revisited. When we look at our evolving roles, the L&D's role in the entire gamut of things which are happening around, the first thing which comes to my mind is, gone are the days where I always give this example to my teams that you're more, where are you standing? Whether you're a McDonald's or you are a typical restaurant. And what is the difference here is MACD is you're sitting at the counter, people come and order a burger and a fries for you, from you, sorry. They go back to the table and they see that somebody is having a Coke. Now what they have to do is go back, stand in queue, order for Coke, and then wait for the Coke. Whereas with a typical restaurant, the waiter comes to your table, recommends what is the dish for the day, helps you to customize, and so on. I think we have walked that journey from the order takers to the restaurant business. We have moved, and that is how we will also need to look at um, perhaps the HRBP roles as well, because HRBPs were more known from all good, bad, ugly reasons. They were reminded only during the promotion and appraisal days, and the rest of the days they didn't exist for the employees. But things have changed now because you see the HR and people there on the ground. Uh, from a L&D perspective, I think we have moved to a stage where we started anticipating what is the skill required for the business. If we are not doing that right now, um, we are too old for the system. I call it as a business consulting role for our HR professionals now, where you don't go and sit in the meeting rooms with a pad and pen and say, what do you want? It is more about we go to the tables and say that this is what you want or you should get. And then we are the people who will help you with it. With respect to impact, I think gone are the days where, during the lunchtime, we have some of our partners here who are talking about assessments and, measuring effectiveness and so on. I think we don't have to look at feedback anymore. We are looking at how does this employee goes back to the projects or to the work, and how is he or she implementing the learnings which they had, and are they good enough to do this for the organization. Co-ownership is something which I guess we all need to look at from an L&D perspective. What does that mean is, are we able to speak the business language? Are we able to go and nudge people in business saying that, you know what, this is what I read yesterday. Did you know that? So there is something which I did with my roles in current and the previous organizations is I got mentors for the business leaders from outside in technologies and the leadership or management who come and tell these mentors that you don't know anything. This is what is happening in the world. And this is what you need to learn. And then the L&D professional goes and says that now you know you don't know, I'll help you to know. So co-ownership has to emerge because gone are the days where they know what they want or perhaps the clients are asking for and hence they came to us. But now we will have to turn the table around and see how this change can be adapted by them. The other thing which people talk about is data. I come across a lot of profiles on LinkedIn who are data scientists. There are a lot of, sorry to say, but a lot of courses available nook and corner now to become a data scientist. The question is, are we using the available data even at a basic level? And I personally believe we can just make a basic change of matrices. With the old matrices, you were just giving training completion rates. How many people trained, how many people enabled, and we got a better word in the businesses, how many people facilitated through the programs. But are we using the same data effectively now? Are we going back and showcasing how these many people have actually brought more business to the industry or the organization? So application is the word, the way I look at it primarily. And from a learning analytics perspective, there are a lot of, now with the AI, thank you to AI, I'm sure, sorry to use the word, but since morning you must have heard AI a lot of times. But that's the new business right now for all of us. and which gives us a lot of these opportunities to bring in different analytics for business. So please use if you are not using already. These two pictures I really loved when I was creating this slide is, we were always talking about with business on productivity. How many of us are asked this question, are your people productive enough? Okay, half of the room, thank you. Now we will need to look at another question which should come to us is, are your people skilled enough? Because productivity comes only if they're skilled. And the challenge right now is not everyone is skilled enough. Just to share it with you, a quick example. Today morning, I was in a business meeting with one of our colleagues who had traveled from Germany. And she was telling me that, you know what, Mayur, this month onwards, we are not going to add more people to the teams, but we will still look for new projects. So I said, how are these people going to serve for the new projects? So the answer is skilling. We will need to skill them, whether it includes reskilling or upskilling. We will need to skill them enough so that they can take more responsibilities or they can change the roles within the same projects and teams. And which is perhaps sounding more like pressure of extra work, but it is actually not. It is more of rotation of skills which exist and can be learned. So the question for us is, are we ready? Are we ready to create more champion agents? Anybody who has heard, seen about champion change agents? Show of hands. Okay, few of us. All right. Now, champion change agents are also in the L&D space, where these are experts, these are experienced professionals who are representing certain areas of L&D who can be, senior enough to become agents. So you plant them in business, and they will work like a bridge between the HR and business. So they are the ones who will go back, as I said some time back, to suggest or recommend change. And of course, from a skilling perspective of the change. I think psychological safety is something which is a buzzword, so I could miss adding that here as well. But are we ready to implement it in our organizations? Upskilling, I think we have talked about it. Business outcomes. As L&D professionals, I think it is important for us to have these conversations with business about how can I help you with business consulting role and not just training consulting. Otherwise, there is no difference between us and the training vendor or a training partner. How are we making a difference working in the same setup? Maybe working for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and some of us for longer durations as well. So if you are able to bring that difference, then people do look forward to having a conversation with us. So few thoughts, which I call it as toolkit for managing change. Some of it I'm sure we have heard of, read about. So just sort of listing it up here. From learning experience platforms, plenty of them available. Some organizations create on their own within the setups. This is nothing else but, budgets is one thing which always comes to our mind, but these are feasible options also. I think Gen Zs love micro-learning content. I worked with Infosys in my career, and we had created a smaller app which was installed on mobile phones of all Gen Zs and millennials back then. So they could surf courses like YouTube when they were traveling, thanks to Bangalore, Pune traffics. So they were able to also go through these courses in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, shorter courses. So you saw the results within a month that 200 courses completed by an employee, just using the travel time. AR, VR, I think it's little old now, but still, it is one thing which is also option for us to look at. Collaboration and sharing tools, I think ChatGPT has started aligning with teams now, big time, Outlook. Please use it because that can also help you to align and collaborate with extended teams who may not be in the same country or same city or same regions. AI powered, I think we just have to explore because it's new thing for all of us. Data, I'm reminded of an example where we worked with one of the clients in Netherlands where they had 100 years old data of a bank, and it was just lying there on the server. They didn't know what to do. Now this is a business problem. How is that L&D going to help them to drive it? But we worked with them to identify the basic data where people were trained in those 100 years. And they were surprised to know that they had trained their own employees in those 100 years, about 3 generations who had gone through the different banking or the product trainings as well. And then we created a solution saying that we will give you this data for the future trainings so that you can reutilize some of those people who are already trained. So you save on your cost by making them trainers, and they are able to train your own people for the newer generations as well. Because usually the products may just enhance. The basic remains consistent. So I'm going to take a few more minutes to share with you some of it, what I have tried myself with my teams, my organizations where I've worked. Something which has worked beautifully. I called that initiative as seat at the table. I announced it to the business people. What it means is every week, L&D will come and sit on the floor, solve your problems, recommend solutions, and we'll also sit with you to observe. We also learn with you. We want to learn your jargons. We want to know how do you work. And it has gone really well. And a lot of leaders love that idea. They came back and said that we want you to come twice and thrice in a week now, because it seems to bridge that gap and help us improvise faster. Second, change agents, I talked about it. We have started planting change agents in each of the business lines geographically, because that is helping people to create those touch points. And these are change agents, thankfully, from business who are keen to be part of L&D. So we trained them, and now they are talking business and L&D both. Third is change management. I think ADKAR is something which is a very old change management style. There are many new available now. Whichever works for you and the organization, pick it up, because that will definitely support. I think the last two, communication, listening, is the key for all of us. The more we get into these conversations with people, we will get to learn a lot. So, there is an initiative which I recommended, though the name was not very interesting, which I called it as Fly on the Wall. My team started looking on the wall and they said, no, Mayur, this is not, because we don't want to look like a fly there. But what I meant was we'll be there. Our presence will be there. We'll just observe. We'll not do anything. So we started joining their stand-up meetings and weekly calls. Just observe. No actions. But that is something which is helping learning on the go, because we get to see their challenges, concerns, and so on. Just thought of sharing a quick case study before I wind up. This is a case study where one of the organization was restructuring internally. I mean, we are in the times where we hear a lot about restructures and revisiting business and so on. So usually HR and L&D also restructures. So this is something they wanted to create the workforce which is skilled, upskilled, and so on. So what we did there is we created, we already had these change agents who worked closely with both business to understand how do they want to restructure, and then we provided those solutions to them. And because it was a recent one, we introduced AI solutions along with that, so that the restructuring which takes place, they are able to capture it quickly, and the AI does the work, which is the mundane work or the boring work of the administrative work of restructuring. And of course, they were very happy about it, um, because the enabling and the scaling time which it took was much lower than expected. And this is thanks to AI and change agents, because they were on the ground mentoring people and seeking feedback as well. So just sort of sharing one quick case study with you. So before I close, a few thoughts to share. Look at embedding learning even in the workflow. If you are able to create initiatives, especially in the hybrid working model, when people come to office, I'm still a Gen X, so old style of working works for me, where face-to-face meeting people. If you are able to create those touch points, I think whatever generation people belong to, they'll love it. They'll be more interested to be part of it. Lead by example. L&D has to be on the ground. You can't sit in your chairs anymore. Please carry your laptops or mobile phones, whatever works. Be there with business. Agility and experimentation. I think we all will have to move on the go and be flexible as well at the same time. If I may add one more word there, don't be rigid about your own processes. I know we need processes, of course, but if we be little flexible, you will see the adaptability from business also is faster, because they realize that you are equally supporting them. And the last is, we keep getting this question, will AI replace humans? This was a question asked about 15 years ago about robots replacing humans. It didn't happen. So I'm damn sure that AI will never replace. But one thing for sure, AI will never replace is empathy. It is a human feeling AI will never get, whatever you do. So it's a good news and bad news both. But I think if we are able to bring in that human element to people in every conversation, even if you do the technology specific trainings or certifications, that will drive what we are looking for. Okay, that's an indication I have to stop. Okay, so I leave you with thoughts, questions. We can connect offline. I know we have a next agenda. So thanks a lot. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayur, for sharing your insights.